Hi everyone, Comic Reviewer here, and this time reviewing on DC Comics Presents Superman and the Golden Age Superman. Now, as you know, DC Comics Presents was meant to feature superheroes teaming up to stop a certain villain and a certain thing. So in other words, it's like their own version of Brave and the Bold. And yeah, the cover has the two Superman battling against their two versions of Lex Luthor. And the story introduces the Golden Age Superman and the Silver Age Superman. Now, keep in mind, the Golden Age Superman is meant to be from Earth 2, the Golden Age concept, and the Earth 1 Superman is meant to be set in the Silver Age and Bronze Age. And it starts off how Lex Luthor's planned to rob a bank, and they're like saying, "It's Luthor! There! Got to be stopped! Stop him! We can't even slow him down! Face it, Jackson, we need Superman!" So, Superman and Lois return basically from France, and Superman knows there's an emergency and has to quickly drop off Lois, and pretty much uses the Daily Planet's orb to kind of try and take him down, which does so with success. And yeah, Luthor gets taken away. And yeah, Superman points out that he can't really be in a proper relationship with Lois because of everything that, has to save the world and that. And says, "But in the meantime, I still can't shake my duty. I'm sorry, Lois. I'm very sorry." And we're introduced to Earth 2 with the Earth 2 version of Lex Luthor, Alexei Luthor. Now, keep in mind that since his origin is much different, he never lost his hair because of the chemicals being blown at him, and plans to launch missiles at the Daily Star, where you've got a much older Superman being warned by his wife Lois about the missiles, and says, "Great Scott, this definitely is a job for Superman. Up, up, and away!" And so, pretty much, because now that he's slower, older, and weaker, he's not exactly in his best position, and says, "Have to remember I'm not quite as super as I once was. I was my most powerful when I was in my 30s. And so goes against the missiles, and pretty much knocks them down, and Superman manages to capture Alexei Luthor, and gets sent to prison, where Lex Luthor has organised a plan by having one of his henchmen pose as a prisoner, and using the equipment he smuggled in to transport himself to Earth 2, and have his Earth 2 counterpart take his place on Earth 1. And so Lex has managed to manipulate the gods into thinking he's a victim, been imprisoned, and says, "Excellent. Let's please hurry. That, if you will." And so he says, "It worked. I'm on Earth 2, and I'm free." And so plans to basically kill the Golden Age Superman, where Alexei Luthor ends up basically on Earth 1, and plans to do what Lex Luthor of Earth 1 couldn't. And so, meanwhile, basically Jimmy Olsen's picture becomes front page news, and so Lois and Clark get into an argument, but has to pretend to be a bit of a dick to kind of go in against a big emergency, and vainly battles Earth 2 Lex Luthor, who he doesn't seem to recognise, and manages to use a special device to send him floating up into space. And meanwhile, on Earth 2, Superman gives his wife a nice present, but sees that something's going on, where a runaway truck's happening, and Superman has to basically use his strength to slow it down. But it turns out it's a trap by the Earth 1 Lex Luthor, who shrinks him to the size of a molecule, and Lois has to go and rescue Clark. And after basically Lois taking down the Earth 1 version of Lex, basically Earth 2 Superman knocks him down and says, "He's the other Earth's Luthor, honey." And so flies off to basically warn Superman, and yeah, Earth 1 Superman manages to basically free himself. And meanwhile, Alexi Luthor spoils or lets slip that he knows her Earth 2 counterpart, which Lois starts asking questions, but says, "Unfortunately I do," and has to fly to the Fortress of Solitude, where him and Earth 2 Superman have to place them in between dimensions to decide what to do with them. And so they pretty much teleport themselves to Earth 3. Now, keep in mind that if you have read the comics, Earth 3 is meant to basically be an Earth with only supervillains and no heroes. And they transport to Earth 3, where they're introduced to Ultraman saying, "Superman the filth," and thinks they're meant to be his friends, so Lex Luthor activates his kryptonite weapon, which has basically Ultraman laughing, saying that kryptonite only powers him, but Lex Luthor talks him down to persuade a deal, and that they're basically come to his Earth for a certain mission. And they pretty much leave off with the Earth 3 version of Lois Lane looking on. Now, I'm gonna have to end it here. I am gonna do a second part. So, Comic Reviewer here, signing out.